The past is gone, people, and time machines are but a fiction. Police boxes are telecommunications, just that, and the DeLorean is a car with woeful fuel consumption. But nostalgia, that one thing that just keeps getting better every year, makes us long for that foreign country, the past. We think we know that place. We feel this certainty with all the passion that those in exile share. But LP Hartley was right. The past is a foreign country. They do things differently there, and we can never go back. We shouldn't imagine that we can or should recreate in the present in the image of that sepia-coloured paradise, when fruit tasted better, singers could actually sing, and children respected their elders. And we cannot educate our students to live in that foreign country that they can never go to. It was a wonderful place, the past, and it gave us everything, literally everything that we have and cherish. The music of the Beatles, the films of Martin Scorsese, and the wonderful books of Douglas Adams. But the world has changed. Until quite recently, it was a sign of intelligence to recall unassisted, simple but specific facts. The date of federation, the original drummer for the Beatles, or the first Scorsese film that he did with De Niro. But that kind of smarts don't count for much now. You can just look this stuff up from pretty much anywhere and in less than a minute. Other skills are, of course, valuable, and the machines and practices of globalisation have not yet replaced our keen human minds. But we are educating our young people not to live in the past, or even really the present, but to thrive in the future, that undiscovered country. Hamlet, Shakespeare's classic character from 400 years ago, pondered death with this term, and Kirk and Spock took it boldly into the imaginary future. The future, the true undiscovered country. No explorers have ever returned, which is a pity. We as teachers could do with some inside knowledge from the future. Specifically, what skills and knowledge will actually matter in the next 50 years? What should we teach our students to do and know? This question is at the very core of our purpose and mission, and we just don't know the answer. Our best predictions make fools of us, so let me play the earnest fool for you. Here is my big prediction. There are two key things that will matter in the future. The first of them that is going to be important is reputation. Obscurity was once our friend, but for the most part it is disappearing bit by bit, and privacy is mutating so fast as to be somewhere between a blur and a distant memory. We just cannot educate our young people to avoid making a fool of themselves publicly and perhaps permanently, but we can and we should help them develop the skills to manage and curate their digital footprint, to overpower the follies of youth and indiscretion with the great and admirable things that they'll do with the rest of their lives. There are second acts in public life, but staging them as a skill, and one we should teach. But reputation or fame for the sake of fame is not enough. Put bluntly, it doesn't pay the bills. You have to have a reputation for something, and the best thing to be known for is this: being someone who can produce objects of value. It's that simple and that complicated. We need to educate our young ones to produce objects of value. In part, I do mean physical objects: chairs, computers and champagne. And I mean objects of the mind: story, song and symposium. And I mean things as ephemeral as peace, art and peace of mind. But people need to be able to produce things, because just consuming isn't good for your finances and it isn't good for your soul either. Objects of value. Hang on, is this all about the money? No is the short answer, but economics is part of it. Realistically, some of the things that our students will need to produce need to be worth enough to other people that money will change hands. But there are other ways of being of value, and they'll want to produce these objects that are valuable in this way too. Things that add to beauty, to happiness and well-being. Just as the objects might be tangible or intangible, the value will be a mixture of the commercial and those things we do for our families, for our loves, and sometimes because we alone can see the value in them. But we need to produce objects that are of value to someone. This has always been true, and my prediction is that it will be true into the future too. So what does this mean for us as educators? It means this: we need to run this simple test on everything we teach. Is this helping my student become a person who produces objects of value? Because if it's not, then we are not getting our students ready for that undiscovered country we know so little about. And we need to be brutally and painfully honest with ourselves as we measure our learning activities against this test. An activity might be popular or cool or use amazing technology. but can we in good conscience see a direct line from this learning of our students to them becoming producers of objects of value? If we cannot, then we are not producing something of value ourselves. Because, despite what I said before, there are actually time machines. We are time machines, thrown forward into that undiscovered country one day at a time. And we are all long enough in the tooth to know that those days add up quickly. We fortunate few have the opportunity to produce something of amazing value, people who can thrive in the future, that undiscovered country. So let's be teachers worth our students feeling nostalgic about and get to it so they're ready for that future.